In this edition of the Thinking Cosmos Chronicles, I welcome you to a fantastic journey that only great books and your imagination can create. Today, I will walk through two great reads, one new and one old, both extraordinary. Join me as we enjoy life in the cosmos. I am starting with, it's called A Beautiful Question by Frank Wilczek, Finding Nature's Deep Design, winner of the Nobel Prize in Physics. The Chronicle of Higher Education says inspiring and remarkably accessible. We'll open it here to the first page, kind of introductory here. As you can see, Frank Wilczek won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2004. He also has a column in the Wall Street Journal called Wilczek's Universe. If you haven't read it, it is really good. Comes out in there all the time, very interesting topics. One thing that I find very interesting with this book, we'll go on here as it starts. Here are the contents. You can see he starts with Pythagoras, moves on to Plato, Newton, Maxwell. Goes into Einstein. One thing that's really interesting in this book is he has recommended reading. He talks about at the beginning how to read the book. And you can see here he has a brief recommended reading section. It's not a routine list of popularizations nor of textbooks, but a carefully considered set of recommendations for further exploration in the spirit of the text, emphasizing primary sources. One thing I find fascinating with every book that I read is looking at the references, looking at what does this author recommend. Definitely can give you insight and recommendations for the next book you may want to read. So this book in particular, like he says here, he wants to provide recommended reading where you can explore further on these topics. He starts off with the question. The first chapter of the book. If you haven't picked up this book, haven't read it, recommend it. If you have read it, leave a comment down in the comment section. I'd love to hear about it. By Stephen Hawking. This was published in 1988. I've actually read this book 4 times. Pretty much every 10 years or so I go back and reread it, pick up a lot of new information. You can see here in the front and in the table of contents there's an introduction by Carl Sagan. So you can see the contents here. Quite a bit of content is covered here. This book is really good, not only for the layman, but for the astute cosmologist, because it does go into quite a bit of technical depth as well, which is fairly impressive for a book that's only 206 pages long. You'll see things covered here like light cones. So here's an event. The future light cone is everything that can be affected by that event. The past light cone is everything that could have affected that event. This book, Stephen Hawking even talked about Robert Oppenheimer in 1939, who actually was extremely close to discovering black holes, had it not been for World War II. So quite an interesting topic that he goes into. He also covers things like Alan Guth, who suggested that the early universe might have gone through a period of very rapid expansion. Again, goes into a lot of different topics of the cosmos. Finishes off with the grand unified theory, right? Talks about there could be a grand unified theory if we're smart enough one day. That's one option. Another one is that no, there won't be a grand unified theory, maybe just an infinite sequence of theories that could describe the universe more and more accurately. And then finally, maybe events cannot be predicted beyond a certain extent. So quite a bit of in-depth knowledge from Stephen Hawking in this book. Highly recommend it. If you have a book that you think is the top or maybe one of the greatest books of the cosmos, please comment down below. I'm very interested to hear your thoughts on this book, Brief History of Time, Stephen Hawking. You can see it's a fairly small book, or any other book that you consider to be one of the greatest books of the cosmos of all time.